Welcome back, True Seeker. As imagined, the Dodgers closed out the World Series in tribute to Jackie Robinson tonight, and it couldn't be any more clear. If you read my notes, I talked about how the Dodgers could pick up the 105th win on the day leaving 72 days left in the year when Jackie Robinson would be 105 years old if he were alive, but he died back in 1972. And as you can see, our friend said in the chat, if you write out Dodgers in Gematria, it equates to 72. The word the equates to 33. So put it together. The Dodgers is also 105. So the Dodgers pick up their 105th win, winning 10-5. And keep in mind, it's the 105th NFL season right now. And this game was running alongside Sunday Night Football, which was the 105th game of the 105th season. And Russell Wilson got the win, making his debut starting with the Steelers. The Steelers became 5-2. The Jets fell to 2-5. Go back and look at the Super Bowl 40 date. That's when the Steelers beat the Seahawks in the most rigged Super Bowl there ever was. The one where they kept taking touchdowns away from the Seahawks and giving them to the Steelers so Jerome Bettis could ride off into the sunset in Detroit, in his hometown. But the date of that game, Super Bowl 40, was February 5th, 2-5 or 5-2. And my initial thought was that the Steelers would win in tribute to that when we talked about it yesterday. But I said, wait for the league-wide record, and the league-wide record burned me tonight by switching off the initial thought. Anyhow, the reason I'm bringing that up is because if you watch Sunday Night Football, they interviewed Russell Wilson after the game, and what was the first thing Russell Wilson said? Russell Wilson started talking about the baseball season. And remember, Russell Wilson used to be a baseball star. He's also drafted into Major League Baseball. So again, these things are not an accident. What did the Dodgers win the series? They won it 4-2. 4-2. Jackie, number 42. Again, one more time, he'd be 105 years old. If you were just watching my live little broadcast at the end of the game, I was saying, I'm going to laugh so hard if they end up making the score 10-5 once they got a runner on first with 2 outs. And then sure enough, just the way they even let him go all the way around the bases, a runner doesn't normally score in that situation. Nothing but scripts, you guys. Nothing but scripts. And again, it's all of these pro sports leagues, even the WNBA. The WNBA couldn't be any more scripted. During this season, in our Patreon, I kept pointing out that the Liberty were doing the strangest things, synced up with the news, with the politics, with Kamala. And then look, they win their first championship on Kamala's 60th birthday when the game goes to overtime, 60-60. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So anyhow, let's take a look at the box score for the Dodgers. See what else they might have packed. Oh, one other thing I have to say. Here, let's just pull this up right now. Jackie Robinson, date of birth. I want you to see one other thing they did tonight. He's got that January 31st, 1919 birthday game. Would have turned 105 years old this year. Dodgers, again, pick up the 105th win of the season. 10-5. But look at how it's 263 days after his birthday anniversary that they do this. 263 is the 56th prime number. You remember where the 56 fits in, right? The Dodgers got their 56th home win of the year tonight. And again, 56 is that number they stamp all over Black Lives Matter. Just like how they painted it on Church Street on the 5th day of the 6th month. So many rituals with this. Obama, the first black president, won the 56th election. Kamala takes the White House at age 56. On and on and on. 263 days after Jackie's birthday, 56th home win. I mean, just everything is just perfectly scripted. And the whole Steve Garvey thing, too. Just to remind you, Steve Garvey played for the Dodgers and the Padres. This season, the first spring training game was on the 63rd day of Steve Garvey's age. The Dodgers have just finished the, they still have the World Series to play, but they've just finished off the Mets, who are in their 63rd season. Again, Dodgers beat the Padres 14-1 in that first spring training game in their 141st game of the year. And you know what postseason home win the Dodgers just got tonight to advance to the World Series? 141. Dodgers just got their 141st home win in the postseason. Again, 56th win of the year. In a year that started with winning 14-1 in spring training, perfectly synced with Steve Garvey. And then again, the Dodgers and Padres, they opened the year 8 days before everybody else in Korea. That first game was 89 days after Steve Garvey's birthday. They beat the Padres, again, the two Steve Garvey teams. And notice, Los Angeles, California is also 89. Los Angeles, Dodgers, and California. And hold on, what is it? Let me see. Is it Jackie Robinson? Yeah, Jackie Robinson's also 89. And you know, his real actual name is Jack Robinson, which equals 50. Like Mookie Betts came over in the Jackie Robinson ritual, the 4-2 ritual, fourth day of February. And then Chadwick Boseman died later that year on the makeshift Jackie Robinson Day. And remember, the day that Chadwick Boseman died was also Jack Kirby's birthday, who wrote Black Panther. And the real Jackie Robinson was in the tank brigade in World War II called the Black Panthers. That was August 28th, 2020. And again, that was all because of the scandemic, just like how they had to move the NBA finals and it concluded on Father-Daughter Day after Kobe and his daughter supposedly died in a helicopter crash after that was told in a short Nike film and a Comedy Central skit. And don't forget, they did show you the picture of his family taking off in Kobe's helicopter at the John Wayne Airport, and then the one that they showed crashed. They had to report it crashed in the 4200 block, but it was a different helicopter. Kobe might have been at the game tonight, you know. Gianna might be in the WNBA as soon as next year. So don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself because you're being lied to about everything. That's what people need to get through their heads. Nothing but scripts. And then, of course, the Dodgers had to go through the Padres in the postseason. But yeah, 4-2. And the Mets, you see how the Mets lose 2-4 from their perspective, it makes sense too. You know, Jackie's 42 in that same cipher where Jackie's 42, Mets is 24. And actually, you see how Jackie's 123, 42, and 39? Look at Kamala. Exact same thing, because they do it on Kamala's birthday, the Cali girl, right? They got the Liberty going to OT 60-60. Don't forget, again, Kamala, Joe Biden passed the torch to her 123 days after Willie Brown's birthday. Again, she started sucking Willie's Willie when he was 60 and she was in her 20s. Now she's 60, just in time for the 60th election. Her vice president's probably in his approaching 80, but supposedly he's age 60. He's got hair white as snow. Doesn't look 60 at all. Again, a lot of lies just to fit the number rituals, day in and day out. So, again, spring training, we said in the NL it's going to be the Dodgers or the Braves to represent. And there hasn't been many years in the decade I've been here that we haven't been able to get at least one of the two World Series teams right in spring training. In some years, I have had to take two teams in a league. Atlanta was a worthy thing, and who knows? Well, it was probably going to go for Jack. It was probably going to go this Jackie way all along. But Atlanta was a worthy thought because Atlanta, this year will be the 120th World Series. Atlanta equals 120 and 15. 120 is the 15th triangular number. And notice how many games or how many runs there are for the Dodgers as they advance to the 120th World Series. 15 runs in the game. So, all right. And again, always the World Series numbers. I'm just blown away by how many people that I had to debate with in my own community this year about what the World Series was going to be once the postseason was starting. I mean, it was a no-brainer, you guys. If you didn't cash on the Dodgers and Yankees, again, I really don't know what you're doing. I mean, you're looking at the guy who's won in baseball every single year, teaching you the same lessons over and over. You don't fade the World Series numbers. The Yankees were plus 147 in run differential in the regular season, the best in baseball. The Dodgers started the postseason on 147 postseason losses all time. And you know what? Actually, I might have misspoke about how many home wins the Dodgers have in the postseason. I think they got their 141st home win versus the Mets tonight. That's what it was. They beat the Mets by getting their 141st home win over the Mets. But they did start the postseason on 147 losses, and the World Series begins 147 days after Dave Roberts' birthday. Here, if you pull up right now, it's going to show you that today's 142 days after Dave Roberts' birthday. The World Series begins in 5 days on Juan Soto's birthday, October 25th. So today's 142, add 5, it's going to be 147 days after his birthday. It's as simple as that. Year after year, the exact same type of things. The other number that smashes in the World Series is 57. Last year, Rangers manager got his 57th postseason win, winning the World Series. Remember, we took the Rangers game 1 with 50-1 odds in a ritual sync with George W. Bush as they beat the Phillies 11-7, who ended up throwing out the first pitch for the World Series. George W. Bush. What day did the 119th World Series end last year? On the 119th day of George W. Bush's age, just like we imagined it would. Scripted sports, scripted politics, constantly united, always paying tribute to history. I don't know how many more times we can show it. And you can still check that the Yankees, if you go to the standings don't update in the postseason. So you can see right here, the Yankees. See their run differential? This is from the regular season right here. See, the record was 94-68. That's their regular season record. And by the way, so often the records for these teams, they will point to what's going to happen in the postseason. Cleveland, they were the only team that finished the year with 161 games. By the way, if you're new here, everyone's got to know these things. These are fundamental These are fundamentals for baseball gematria. The 4 base ciphers of the English language: alphabetic order with numerology, reverse alphabetic order with numerology. 54 outs in a game, baseball 54. Russell Wilson, who used to be a baseball player too, also has that 54. Again, after the game, he starts talking about the baseball season. When they start to interview him, I'm like, look at it, man. 105th game of the 105th season as the Dodgers have just won 10-5. Anyway, 18 with numerology. They just made the bases 18 inches last year, 18 half innings in a game. On the 18th of the month, home teams were 18-18 in the postseason. On the 17th, they were 17-17. On the 16th, home teams were 16-16. We followed this pattern all throughout the postseason. We just got done torching the postseason. A troll tried to call in on day 1 when we went 2-2, but the 2 games that I liked the most both came in, and the 2 that I was a little shakier on didn't. Troll tried to call day 1, how'd your baseball picks go yesterday? Well, technically, it was still a winning day because the nice dog came through that was a good payout in the game. But, so you haven't seen that troll call back in through the whole postseason because he's been sitting here with his thumb up his ass, getting madder and madder each day. Damn, he dominated again. Damn, both his futures came in again. Damn, he called it from spring training again. Anyway, by the way, let me drop the link for the troll who came in as baseball expert after game 1 of the postseason to talk shit to a guy who's nailed baseball futures for a whole decade. Whole decade of nailing them from spring training. Here, I'll drop the link so you can come in and talk some shit tonight. Let's hear how it sounds. It's going to sound even weaker than the first time. But yeah, run the alphabetic order in reverse. Baseball 162, like the number of games in a season. 54 again when you run it in reverse numerology. 54 outs in a total game for baseball. So Yankees run differential was a big tell for them. And the other thing we knew about the Yankees is the Yankees had this huge ritual with the Phillies. Here, I want to show you this from earlier this year. This game right here. It was on Ignatius Loyola's feast date, the anniversary of the anniversary of the leader of the Jesuits dying. Remember, it's the Jesuits that write the scripts. The Jesuits are behind the rigged games. Again, they're the same ones that gave you the calendar and the language. They serve the Roman Catholic Church. All roads lead to Rome. Do you see how on this game, the Yankees and the Phillies are both on 65 wins, and the score was 6-5? And the starting pitcher the starting pitcher for this game, Nestor Cortez, number 65. Hold on, let me pull this up on ESPN's website. I want you to see Nestor Cortez's record. And then I'm going to tell you why this was a major clue that the Yankees could be back in the World Series this year. Because I was more solid on the National League teams with it either being the Dodgers or the Braves. The Orioles look like the best team out of the gate in the AL, but obviously it wasn't them. When this Yankees thing happened, we said, maybe that's what's really going on here. Hold on, let me. I just want you to see Nestor Cortez's record from July 31st. And then again, if you don't understand why that 65 is so important, how come I can't see? Oh snap! Actually, his record didn't do what I remembered it doing, but yeah, just number 65. It was very obvious that this was going to go. Both teams are going to be on 65. It was the last game of the series. And both teams have a very strong connection to 65. Remember, we call Philadelphia the 65 city because its establishment date is October 27th, the day leaving 65 days left in the year. And then in that same cipher, which is the most powerful cipher, the most consistent, New York Yankees is 65 as well. So the thing is, when was the last time the Yankees won the World Series? 15 years ago, right? Yankees won the World Series 15 years ago. What did I just say about 15 in the 120th World Series? 120 is the 15th triangular number. So if you had 1 through 15 together, it equals 120. And this ritual went down on a very important day, a day that's very important to the Jesuits who run the whole thing, like I always explain to you. Just like when the Dodgers broke the 32-year drought versus the Rays, the Jesuit Order's logo is the sun with 32 rays coming off of it. Okay. So yeah, that when that happened, I was like, whoa, maybe they're trying to tell us it's been 15 years since the Yankees won a World Series. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series. Again, join us to Patreon because I'm going to lay down what really stands out to me the most. But this one is pretty interesting. This one's got a very, very interesting narrative. This might be one of the more challenging World Series to call, to be perfectly honest. But I'm going to go back to the old reliable number that I rely on each time, and it is there. But there are some things that got me humming and hawing this time around. So, yeah, and then just the WNBA. Again, I'm not a big WNBA guy, but we were covering it throughout the season this year on Patreon because we do daily live streams. And I just kept documenting just all these very interesting things that were synced up with the Liberty score and like things we were documenting with Kamala Harris. And it's just hilarious to see how it unfolds now. It's like, look at this. It ends on her birthday and it goes to overtime 60-60 on her 60th birthday and people don't see it. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's annoying. It really is just annoying that people don't like get it. Like, how don't you get it? Like, what's not to get? Look, Minnesota scored 2 in overtime, and the Liberty scored 7. So obviously it went to overtime 60-60. Just laughable. Laughable. Minneapolis equals 62 for the record. The team from Minneapolis goes down with 62. And again, International Women's Day is the 67th day of the year. Female equals 67 in Jewish gematria. 129 points. That's 201 in base 8. Big Jesuit thing as well. But yeah, the bittersweet thing tonight was going against my initial thought, which was right on. My initial thought was right on this game. My initial thought was, and I spelled it out. I said they just paid tribute to a former Super Bowl with the Steelers and Cowboys a couple weeks back. Home teams became 7-6. We also liked the even before the home team record, we liked the Steelers to lose because Fields fell to 13-30 in that game versus Dallas. Dallas equals 13. Cowboys equals 30. Again, when a QB has a narrative like that, it usually comes in. But home teams also fell to 7-6 in that game when the Steelers lost at home to the Cowboys, and that was the 1976 Super Bowl. Steelers and Cowboys. Last week, Texans seemed like lock city to drop the Patriots to 5-1 at home versus the Houston Texans. Houston Texans 51, just like today, the Packers became 5-1 versus the Texans. But it made even more sense last week because Super Bowl 51's where the Patriots had the big comeback. Well, Yeah, against Matt Ryan, the 25-point comeback for the Falcons. By the way, today the Seahawks picked up their 25th win in the NFC South against the NFC South division. You look week after week, you'll see how it's the same numbers. You're just talking about them all the time. When Brady came back from 25 on 2/5, that was the 97th NFL season. 97 is the 25th prime. That was the year they moved the touchback to 25 yards. This year they moved the kickoff thing to the 30. So 30 is a number, but so is 70, the remaining part of the field. And there seems to be a lot of tributes to 1970 this year. That was the year the Chiefs beat the Vikings in Super Bowl IV. But again, the initial thought here was that they were going to pay tribute to Super Bowl 40, where the Steelers' very rigged outcome over the Seahawks. If you guys remember, everybody was coming out and saying, is the NFL rigged? That looked so horribly rigged, that game. It looked like they wanted to win it for Jerome Bettis in his hometown of Detroit. It was just like a pitiful job. It just looked pathetic. If you don't remember Super Bowl 40, I mean, it really was the most pathetic Super Bowl. Seahawks kicked the Steelers' ass. I mean, that Super Bowl should have a whole bunch of asterisk marks next to it because the refs were just taking everything away from the Seahawks. Anytime the Seahawks did something, scored a touchdown, big play, penalty would come out, a terrible towel. I mean, you think about that with the Steelers, too, one of the most winning franchises who are known for the terrible towels, and the NFL is known for god-awful officiating, which is pretty much what the whole league is branded on. Just horrible officiating, always inconsistent, miserable calls that decide games, blatant no pass interference calls, blatant calls that aren't penalties. I mean, that's the National Fixed League. It's Tom Brady's whole career, the Tuck rule. It's just all of it. But anyway, Super Bowl 40. Here, look at the Super Bowl 40 date. This is what we looked at yesterday in the stream, and that's why I was like, this looks pretty good for the Steelers. What I was hoping was going to happen tonight with the league record is the Steelers were going to be able to pick up the 50th home win of the season. I told people if that happens, it's absolute lock city for the Steelers. But I said the one thing that could signal that maybe it's the Jets game is if the Steelers can get the 54th home loss. And that's actually how it ended up lining up. And I ended up deciding okay, maybe that's what they're doing then. And now I'm totally annoyed with myself because it was this. You see how the Super Bowl 40 date is 2-5 or 5-2, depending on where you are in the world. Look at the records for these teams now. 2-5 and 5-2. And again, 52 is president. You had Trump there at the game. 37 points. The Franco Harris thing is part of this. I guarantee it. Remember how they killed Franco Harris? He was perfectly healthy, making the rounds before they were going to retire his jersey at the Steelers-Raiders game in tribute to the Immaculate Reception, and then he just drops dead before the game out of nowhere. But again, Trump was mocking Kamala Harris today in Pennsylvania at a McDonald's. And was it Bucks County? Yeah, it was Bucks County, which is 37. Yesterday, I did a long live stream on the greater ritual of Trump and McDonald's. But in that, I talked about why it matters that Ray Kroc died when Trump was 37 years old. And he died at 81. I was going to write out President Biden, which also equals 81, but so does President Trump. They're both 81. Biden supposedly beat him with 81 million votes, and then Kamala, when he passed the torch, raised a record 81 million in 24 hours. But Trump is Mr. McDonald's. We thought both 99s in the game had chances to get sacks tonight, but I said if you only take one, take McDonald for New York because he had the greater alignment. Both 99s got sacks tonight. We loved Pickens for a touchdown tonight. He got in the end zone, his 11th on 11 date numerology. Thought Breece Hall was good for an anytime touchdown. The thing that really hurt in this game, and it looked like it was coming in, man. I bet people were counting their money early. You might be looking at one of them. But God, Rodgers hardly needed any more yards with 9 minutes left in the game. I thought at that point, it looked like he was definitely getting it. They were paying out a lot for Rodgers to have a 300-yard game tonight, plus 520. And man, he couldn't get 20 yards in the final 9 minutes of the game. It's like, are you kidding me? And, I said this a while ago that Rodgers, the rest of his career, would just be a humiliation ritual because they made him Mr. Anti-Vax. And that's how this works, right? The Jesuits who forced the vax on everybody. And remember, the Rooney family that runs the Steelers, they're the only public Jesuit family. But yeah, Rodgers has been a joke since it happened. The fake injury on 9/11. I can't believe people still don't see that that's fake, just like the shooting thing in Butler was totally fake. And I mean, look how they do it, you guys. The Butler thing to tonight, July 13th, right? Under the 13 stripes, 13 weeks from the anniversary of Lincoln's assassination and the Secret Service being established. It's 99 days later, 99 days. Again, Sunday Night Football's 99. Both the 99s looked like good candidates for sacks. And it's funny, they're born one day apart, both of them. But the one on the Jets is McDonald. And again, 138 days after his 25th birthday. I mean, there was no way he wasn't getting a sack. Trump equals 25. Donald Trump equals 138. And you really need to think about these things that we document day after day, week after week, year after year, and now for over a decade. I mean, I've been doing this for over 11 years now, showing you this. A lot of them come here and they say, only Satan could do this. See, this is my problem with religious people's thinking. I do feel like there's a spiritual element to this. Don't get me wrong. But when you guys make these statements that you're so certain about, you're really like neglectful of history and things that even we've learned about while pledging the 13 stripes in slave school. I remember learning about how the Nazis had wicked smart scientists, and they were looking into like making a race that looked a certain way. They were trying to figure out how to genetically alter, et cetera, et cetera. Don't forget about the history of breeding slaves. Think about how all these things could come together. Imagine like you guys, when you watch a TV show, a lot of times they've written out the storyline and where the show's going to go for many years in advance before you see any of those episodes. Imagine when the NFL started the Super Bowl era, imagine they might have had, the first 50 Super Bowls written out. I mean, it's very possible. And imagine that they've invented what the stories they want in those Super Bowl seasons and characters they might want in there. It's like, look at what we just documented with here, let me go back. I mean, this ritual was just awesome when the Yankees closed out the Royals. And here, I want you to think about this. What day was that? October 11th? I forget what day it was. No, it was, hold on, where was it? Was it October 10th? It's right here. It was October 10th. Okay, it was October 10th. When the Yankees closed out the Royals, home teams, so we liked this scenario to happen in this game. Both home teams to lose. The Yankees, okay, home teams fell to 11-14 in this game. Look at King Charles's birthday. King Charles' date of birth, it's 11/14. You remember the other year, we woke up on November 14th and there was a story of Virginia Cavaliers football players being murdered and then kids being killed at the University of Idaho on Kings Road. Again, Cavaliers are those who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War. So you have these murder stories clearly connected to the king, and the news breaks on his birthday. Both stories supposedly happened the day before. The Cavaliers were supposedly killed on the 13th, and the kids on Kings Road were supposedly killed on the 13th. But the news broke on the king's birthday. And it was his 74th birthday, like the king equals 74, like killing equals 74. And it was in Moscow, Idaho, which is spelled the same way as Moscow, which is another 74. Killing the king, again, the 74th day of the year to remember the killing of Caesar by stabbing 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents dead on 74. Anyway, come back to this. His birthday is 11/14. Home teams fell to 11-14 in the postseason here. But not only that, this game was 331 days after King Charles' birthday, and the Yankees got their 331st win versus the Royals. And of course, the day before, they got the 330th win over the Royals 330 days after his birthday. When the Dodgers won games games 2 and 3 in this series, they got their 103rd win on Wednesday, named after Mercury. 103 days after Ohtani's birthday. And then they got the 104th win, 104 days after Ohtani's birthday. And I was thinking they might close it out there and get the 105th, 105 days after his birthday. But then when they didn't, I said, I see what they're doing. They're making this a 4-2 series in tribute to Jackie, who'd be 105 years old. And then that's why tonight, and again, Jackie Robinson died in 72. Today leaves 72 days left in the year. And realize the World Series starts one day after the anniversary of Jackie Robinson's death in '72. That was October 24th. But here, you know what? Let's do something in real time because, again, let's think about how this could be done. What year was the Royals baseball team created? After King Charles was born. And don't forget, when the Royals beat the Mets in the 111th World Series, the Queen was still alive and she was the face of the royal family, born on April 21st, the 111th day of the year. Remember, the 111th World Series, we had the Mets in spring training with huge odds because they weren't supposed to be there. New York equals 111. Go back and look at the box score for that. It ended on November 1st. Matt Harvey got pulled after his 111th pitch after Eric Hosmer stepped to the plate with a 111 batting average in the World Series and got a big hit driving in the first run of the game. And then that's why they pulled Harvey with 111. Again, you guys, I've been talking about them syncing up this stuff with the royal family for a long time. You know, the ritual they just had the other year with LeBron and Steph Curry on King Charles' coronation. You remember that? The coronation on May 6th? Coronation 56, royal family 56. LeBron became 5-6 at home versus Steph Curry in the playoffs. King James, the name Stephen, if you look at the meaning of that name, which is Stephen, it means crown. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Rig sports, high ritual, synced up with world affairs. I'm just here's the other thing I say. When the Yankees got that 331st win against the Royals 331 days after his birthday to close out the series, that's the 67th prime number as well. King is 67. Kansas City 67. Remember, 67 is the 19th prime. Last year, Joe Montana was 67 years old. Chiefs became the first team to win back-to-back in 19 years. The game went to overtime 19-19, and McCole Hardman caught the game winner, his 19th career touchdown. And he had a nice touchdown today wearing wearing 17, the 7th prime in week 7. But yeah, all of this is such blatant evidence of a script and a well-planned out script. So you think about it. King Charles and obviously Elizabeth, who's even older than him, were born before the Royals team was. So this is how you could have scripted that baseball team and made it so that it would line up at this moment with this exact outcome. And you know what's crazy about King Charles being 75 years old? You know who else is 75 right now? Steve Garvey. And what was the 75th World Series, you guys? What was the 75th World Series? It was the Yankees and the Dodgers with Steve Garvey in it. Steve Garvey and King Charles born around the same time. So again, this is how scripts could be written. 75th World Series right here. ESPN had been doing a recent show on the Yankees and Dodgers rivalry of the 70s. And heads up, if you guys saw that show that they kept rerunning on ESPN, they'll probably play it again. But it came out about a month ago. A component of that story is what year was the big blackout in New York? Was it 1977? But they go into detail about this and where it fit in with the Yankees and Dodgers rivalry. So just a heads up on that. July 13th and 14th. What interesting dates. Again, World Series at that 147. 137 is the 33rd prime. But yeah, 75th World Series. Yankees beat the Royals, synced with Charles' 75th birthday. The whole Dodgers season synced with Steve Garvey, who's 75. You know what else is crazy? You know what I'm realizing? Their birthdays are 38 days apart. 38 days apart. And right now, the Dodgers are 3-8 versus the Yankees in World Series. And you know what else is the first time the Dodgers and Yankees ever met in the World Series was 1941. This is the Yankees' 41st World Series appearance. The Yankees are 27-13 in World Series. Here. Remember the Dodgers, before they were the Dodgers, they were the Brooklyn Robins. which Robin obviously should remind you of Jackie Robinson in terms of how planned out everything is. But look at that. 1941 was the first year Dodgers and Yankees met. When they were the Robins and they went to championships, they didn't play the Yankees. 1941. It's 83 years later. The Yankees lead Brooklyn 8-3 in World Series. You know who died at 41 in LA, right? And then the Lakers and the Dodgers both won championships that year. Kobe Bryant died at 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age, traveling from Catholic Mass. Kobe died on the 157th day of his own age. Remember, LA's 41 and 13. 41's the 13th prime. Kobe was 41. His daughter was 13. And they call it Black Mamba. You might recall at first they reported 5 people dying in the helicopter crash, and then later they reported it was 9. Died on 67 date numerology, supposedly. But yeah, I mean, really, all this stuff is just a mockery. Game 5, basketball's 5-on-5, Liberty win by 5. I kept telling my community, I said, they're doing very interesting things with the Liberty this year. The Liberty are the most standout team to me. I mean, they just keep doing interesting things with the team now. Here it is. Kamala's birthday, just how they do it. Sports and politics, nothing but scripts, nothing but rigged outcomes. Again, you got all these kids in the world working their ass off because they want to be on the stage someday. I don't know. There might be a chance that you can make it into the league. I really don't know if you can, though, because they got guys like Will McDonald that are like lab creatures. I don't say that out of disrespect. I just say that out of reality. All these Manchurians. That's the word I like to use. I like to call them Manchurians. The Manchurian candidate. Like they've done something to these people. These people are here for a purpose being used by something else. Fit these perfect scripts. Okay. Yeah, I forget if I mentioned it, but by the Steelers beating the Jets, they became 19-7 versus them in the regular season, which is a lot like the number 197, the 45th prime with number 45 in attendance. And of course, Rodgers won Super Bowl 45 over the Steelers, so you can see how they brought all these elements together. What's up, 917?
Yeah, I think Game 6 of the World Series is 187 days after Aaron Judge's birthday on November 11th, 111, with 11 date numerology, leaving 50 days left in the
All right. Interesting.
No, I said 131 is the 32nd prime. He's 32 years old. It's looking like he's
it is very interesting. So I'll look at it more and we'll talk about it. But you remember where the Dodgers are in World Series wins right now, I imagine. So we'll save it for Patreon.
Oh, you was spot on too when attorney when the translator got caught cheating. You was spot on. You called it there. You was like it was amazing. Like and what else was it? Too I had. It's just scripted, so scripted. It's like I don't understand how they pack these stadiums still, but I'll let you get back to your thoughts. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right, and we got two gentlemen who want to join the stream, so let's get them up here. And Charles, you did get in the room first, and Evan's also waiting. I'm gonna let both you guys go. If we can see if we can all just communicate together, talking over each other. Charles was here first. Evan does great research as well, so I can't wait to hear what Evan has. But Charles, since you were first in line, you get first dibs on speaking.
Well, let the other brother go. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, let the other brother go first. He has more on topic, as far as the numbers game. So he can go ahead and go.
Okay. Okay. It's your turn then, Evan.
All right. Thanks, Charles. I appreciate it. All right. So in my research of the Japanese connections to this World Series, I came across something called the Treaty of San Francisco, which was apparently signed between Japan and a bunch of other nations in 1951. So I guess it was about 6 years after World War II ended or something like that. But anyways, the Treaty of San Francisco was signed on September 8th, 1951, in San Francisco, obviously. That's the day leaving 114 days left in the year. But then they said it doesn't become effective until 233 days later, which was April 28th, 1952. 233 is the 51st prime. And April 28th, 1952, because that was a leap year, that was the 119th day of the year. Treaty of San Francisco equals 119. And 51, we know all the Illuminati connections with that. Adam Weishaupt equals 51. They were founded on May 1st. And then the first ever Japanese player to play in MLB was a pitcher. And his record in the major leagues, well, first off, he actually played for San Francisco. And his record in the MLB ended up being 5-1. And then the most famous Japanese player was Ichiro, who wore number 51. Also, if you write out the words, and of course, Ichiro made his debut in 2001, which is the year of 9/11.
Let's not forget that Ichiro's 50 right now, the most famous Japanese baseball player ever, as Ohtani invents the 50-50 club. And remember, when Ohtani did the 50-50 club, that was the same day that the news was dominated by the black politician out of Georgia with the last name Robinson, who was supposedly posting on an online porn forum that he was a black Nazi. And they said that was from 14 years ago, which was when he was 42, Mr. Robinson, the black Nazi, when Jackie Robinson fought in World War II against the Nazis, at least according to his storybook. So again, just jokes for days, but yeah, keep on going, Evan. I'm listening.
Yeah, and Ichiro's he's going to turn 51 on Tuesday. And as I was saying, if you write out the words 9/11, it equals 51, like how he made his debut in that season. And he also signed his first contract with the Mariners on the 5th of January, another 5/1. And okay, what else is there? That was the main thing that I wanted to share. I guess what you were talking about earlier about how far in advance they script these things. Like last year when the Rangers won it, they held their World Series parade on Stephen F. Austin's birthday, and Stephen F. Austin is known as the father of Texas, and he was like responsible for creating what is now known as the Texas Rangers, like the actual Texas Rangers, and of course he died in like the 1840s. Now baseball didn't even exist in the 1840s, but you have to wonder if they were really creating the scripts nearly 200 years in advance.
Literally possible. But it does make you wonder. Have you seen the movie Knowing?
I don't think so.
I'm amazed you haven't seen it. I've recommended it 1,000 times over the years. If you guys have not seen the movie Knowing, you have to watch that movie being aware of this knowledge. Just to give you a little hint about what it's about, an MIT professor who's a mathematics professor at MIT, he has a daughter at a school, and they open up a time capsule from students from 50 years earlier, and his daughter happens to open up this time capsule that's like nobody else is in the classroom. Most of the kids wrote like, I hope you're still loving life 50 years from now. But this girl opens this one up, and it's a page of nothing but just numbers. And it was elementary school children that did this. So the MIT professor it's like, this is weird that a little girl would have wrote all these numbers down 50 years ago. So he starts to look at the sequence of numbers to see if there's something to it. And he starts to realize that this little girl had written down the dates of like very significant things that were going to happen in the world. And then he realizes that these number sequences go into the future still yet, things that still haven't happened. And what it is dates and coordinates on Earth. So like, for example, Later in the movie, he goes to a place with the exact coordinates on the date, and a plane comes crashing down into traffic like a commercial flight. And he's like, what? So anyhow, I won't ruin the whole movie, but at the end, you find out like what is in control of all of this, and like what was working through that little girl to make that happen. And part of me wonders if that Hollywood movie is actually revealing the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
And I guess just one more thing before I go. The in regards to 114, I was talking about how that treaty was signed on the day, leaving 114 days left in the year. The last time the Yankees won the World Series, of course, it was Hideki Matsui, a Japanese player who won World Series MVP. The Yankees went 11-4 in those playoffs. They won 114 games in the regular season plus the playoffs, and they won the World Series on 11/4. Pearl Harbor, World War, and Art of War all equal 114.
Indeed, they do. And yeah, just, Japanese baseball star, Seattle Mariners. They set the win record that year. And then they got eliminated by the Yankees in the postseason, who lost to the Diamondbacks right after 9/11. And then realized the Diamondbacks, the only other World Series they've been in last year was the one sink with Bush, 119, like the way the majority of the world writes today, 11th of September. But yeah, again, kamikaze pilots into the World Trade Centers, Japan. The man who designed the World Trade Centers was a Japanese American from Seattle. All the planes were Boeing from Seattle. Again, just how they sync up sports, news, world events. It's been going on this whole time, and it's been going over almost everybody's head. And it is frustrating that this work we've been doing hasn't been received by more sports fans. Literally everyone going in these stadiums should know. And shout out to Evan, who you guys are hearing his voice. Evan's gone out in front of the sports stadium down there in Dallas and tried to enlighten the fans, and it can be a tough task, but he's put himself out there several times. So shout out to Evan.
Yeah, I know I haven't done the greatest job at that, but I was able to talk with some people. Most people, when I presented it, the people that at least acknowledged it, they just kind of like acknowledged it and they didn't really want to talk about it more. But most of the people just didn't really want to talk about it. But anyways, there's one more thing that I wanted to say. What was it? Okay, no, I guess that was it. All right, thanks, Zach.
About that.
All right, Evan. Good research. Very interesting. It's okay, Evan. Evan's in his pajamas. Hey, what's up, Charles?
How you doing, brother, man? That was fantastic. It was wonderful.
Indeed. Indeed.
I am I'm the homeless guy in Houston that called back in April.
Okay.
And I haven't missed the show since then. As far as my level of knowledge, I guess I would say I'm a novice. There's nothing that that can come across the TV screen on my phone that I can't recognize as far as numerology. I've been around. One of the things that when I first heard you, I think I would say about 2 years ago, maybe 3. My brain, and of course it was just a spiritual connection automatically. When I heard certain numbers like 86, I worked in the restaurant business, and I said, what is this 86 thing about? Why don't y'all just say take it off?
Right.
I used to watch Martin Lawrence, and the character Shanae, played by Martin, said that she would drop kick Pam back in the apartment 42. And I'm like, well, why? That automatically. I was like, okay, well, there's something to this. 201. That immediately made sense to me about 9/11. I was already onto that stuff prior to discovering your channel. Your channel came to me. I did not go look for it. And again, I told you back then, I haven't missed the show since. Even with my phone disconnected, I've downloaded your videos and watched them at work, or just never missed a show. And I have a very a good memory. I remember every topic, every show, and a lot of your shows, they really do break my heart, man, when I hear that your efforts and your work is, I guess, has been stagnated, and that's understandable. You know, I tell everybody we're at the tail end of YouTube, um, so the reach that you would be getting outside of the censorship would be enough to fund a lot of the things you want to do. And my opinion about these things, first of all, like I said about Martin and these other things, when you play video games, the game Assassin's Creed, they talk about the Knights Templars and the Jesuits. And it to me, when I played that game, it was disgustingly honest about, you're not going to go through the time and effort to illustrate this stuff if this stuff has not been going on since back in these times. So to get to this point today, and you say, well, for one, you're not teaching it in school, and then when you get in the real world, unless you grew up in a big city, I grew up in a small town. Unless you grow up in a big city where you have access to books and different literature, in this you're gonna die without knowing anything about this. All the movies that have came out, the movie you just described sent chills down my back. Because I mean, heck, you can just go to Google and type in these titles of what you're looking for. Movies based on gematria or numerology. The movie Jim Carrey with Jim Carrey, 23 or Butterfly. What I forgot what movie that was. 23 or Butterfly Effect.
The
That
number
movie has
23. That's what it's called. The number
yeah.
23.
As a kid, I remember that movie on VHS just sitting on the shelf. It was like a holographic look to it. And I used to just look at the movie like, what the heck is this? And just put it back.
I have
But
a feeling the butterfly effect was still in the DVD age, but people are still doing VHS. I think the number 23, there wasn't a lot of VHS at that point. People were probably, you probably saw that one on DVD.
maybe my dad used to stop by Hollywood Video. That was one of his rituals. So it might have been but this stuff to me, over the years, I'm 31, and I've listened to. I remember the show when you titled it the Never Viral live stream, and when I saw that at work, I was like, man, this is just, what is it gonna take? And I'm always really thinking for you in my free time, like, what would it take to get this type of work?
V for Vendetta. I've said a long time ago, it's the V for Vendetta scene, man. We got to take over the news station. I was saying a long time ago that we should all gather at CNN and just mass bust in there and take over the studio. We're doing the CNN broadcasts. We're not giving it back until the word gets out. We're doing 48 straight hours of nothing but truth bombs.
That's what I came to the conclusion that you would have to get so many people, that the same people that go to football games or a concert, that many like-minded people to go to something stupid like that, you would have to strap up, and I mean buy your boots and really go and start this. I mean, every time you say, look, man, it's time to rip the Band-Aid off and just it's time for this thing to hit the fan. At that point, the government will I believe, because I try to get into the mind of these people about, first of all, when people say, well, gematria isn't effective, where does it fall on the scale of information? And when you say, well, we have to use the information that's given, that's true. We only know so much, but what you're presenting, there is nobody in their right mind that can get online every day, as long as you have, speak as calmly, with the poise, with the information, long-windedness as you do. I mean, there's no medication, there's no drug to produce this type of information. A lot of other channels I listen to, no, they don't come nowhere near it. And when you do those, you make those comments, when you say about the P Diddy stuff, I'm looking at these channels, man, and they're all like, just a bunch of mess. You had me rolling with the guy you said that had the shiver, the shoulder shaking. Oh my goodness. Cause I'm like, yes, this is, I listen to a guy. I don't know. I don't want to promote channels on your thing, but he's a guy that, comes with information as far as court documents and stuff like that. And I'm, as far as when I'm okay, well, it's time to go listen to Gematria Effect. And it's just a totally different, like, bulldozing of information. Like, dude, I'm bludgeoning this stuff and it's over. Game, set, spike. Okay, these people have been doing this long before we existed, and I try to figure out like how does the message come down the pike when you get like what when how do they do this when as far as they do they leak it, or I say leak it, but do they get these things in a fax, or they okay everybody, because we've seen news clippings on YouTube, compilations of all of them saying the same stuff. And it's like, dude, how do I mean, of course, you already said it. There's an actual clip on YouTube of Arian Foster from the Texans, the running back, saying like, dude, we get a script. We're not
Well,
allowed to talk about
he wasn't being serious when they did that. That's when they were mocking
it.
us. He clarified that he was mocking. I don't know if you guys know this, but Larry Johnson, the former Chiefs running back, he came on and did a live stream with me in 2020, just before the Chiefs beat the Niners in the first that Super Bowl 54. And Larry Johnson in that stream, he said he was actually quietly a fan of my work, and he said I was inspiring him to start up his own podcast. And Larry Johnson has been podcasting for a while now, and he does talk about Gematria quite a bit these days. And I saw he was getting made fun of again in the headlines. This has happened to him now a few times in the last few years. But so like Larry Johnson was for people don't know, Larry Johnson, like for back in the day, he was like he was the best running back in the NFL. If you had him on your fantasy football team, you were going to win your league. And it's crazy how he was such a big star. And I mean, he used to be with Jay-Z and the whole rock thing. And that's what he got that's what he got attention for in recent days. He said he's just totally distancing himself from all of that. But anyway, he's sincere when he speaks out. Arian Foster was not sincere.
I'm glad you confirmed that, because I actually posted that on my social media and thought it was true. But there's no doubt, even if it's not, when you're bringing gambling into something, you're not going to play around with numbers, scores, people coming in and out of games. What you just said about Aaron Rodgers, I'm sitting here like, he was like, yeah, man, it's going to be a humiliation ritual for what he did with this back stuff. I'm like, okay, case closed. That because that, and you could just kind of see it, like, dude, you could see it on their faces. Steph Curry, they have these looks on their faces like, yeah, you go out on the blacktop and you play ball with those guys. That is real basketball. Guys making you go where they want, having to put a ball in a hole when there are guys that, are playing far too physical. When you look at stuff on television, if it's put on television, this stuff it's performative. And I've always said, when I hear your message, like, man, people, they really done a great job at making people real retarded. I mean, it's amazing to me, and it makes me sad, because I do have that spiritual connection when you talk about spirituality, about what you can't stand about Christians or certain religious claims that people make. Look, it's all spiritual, and not everybody's meant to get it. And I'm telling you, if the creator could tell you to your face, look, man, you just don't get it, you won't accept it. But it's just an innate, it's a feeling on the inside of, okay, I believe that there are evil people, not evil people, but there are spirits that are conjuring within these people to sacrifice musicians, athletes, regular civilians if they have to. I already said, when I spent time in jail, and I used to tell these guys like, dude, y'all are gonna keep seeing these shootings on TV. I said, I'm gonna be way out of here, and y'all are gonna keep seeing this, and it's gonna keep happening. And this is how they're just beating us into submission. I'm telling y'all now, they can come out with an Epstein list. And I used to tell my friend, like, they could get on TV for 1 hour straight and tell the truth for 1 hour straight, where we come from. And I promise you, people would not do anything. It would make YouTubers, it would give them the money or whatever. But people would say, "Man, did you just hear that? Hypothetical Africans come from North Korea. That's really their land." Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll see you, Monday night or whatever. And that's all by design. So when I hear your work, I do really think that one young lady called in, had a real pretty voice, and I remember you said, if I wasn't with a girl, I'm macking on her. I was thinking the same thing. If I met somebody like that in real life, talking like that, oh, but when she kind of, I guess, placed your work at a lower tier, and I think that it's among the top three things as far as witchcraft, mass witchcraft. Like you said, the military has this black budget, so I think a lot of it goes to that, and then a lot of it goes to gematria because it's tied into so much. Like, if you were to recite some of the stuff, your work, to like the Pope, that the Pope would be like, yeah, he knows exactly what's going on. We don't just, what do you think we do all day? We use these numbers to bring forth certain things to commemorate ancient gods and stuff like that. And that's really what, I don't want to be too long winded.
Well, I appreciate everything you're saying, Charles. We got Open Up, who's always also great. He's been very patient in the background. So let's let
Thank
you're
you,
welcome
brother.
to stay on, Charles. But let's hear from Open Up for a little bit too. He's always got some great thoughts.
Great stuff, man, brother. Bye.
Hello. Yeah, could you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Cool. So yeah, shout out to the last caller who just spoke. Great words. And shout out to Chris. His message is on the screen right now. He had a nice win. So congrats to him. But yeah, today was another good day for me with the props. I hit $5, turned that into $150. So that's a good payout right there. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you for giving the knowledge and constantly learning more each day. But I wanted to get on to talk about the Steelers game that we just had. And it's so funny because I just want to use a disclaimer. What I'm about to say, I received this information from 252 caller. So I'll give him the credit. I know you know who that is. He's the younger guy.
He's great.
Yeah, but if you go to you're on the ESPN page now. Go to the Steelers Jets, the game cast.
Okay.
And look at the video that they have and the title of it.
Wait, the
Right
Najee
there.
Harris waltzes in for Steelers TD.
Yep. Do you get it? Harris waltzes.
Yeah. What a joke.
And look at the Steelers points, 37. Harris equals 37.
That's what I was saying, and just the whole Franco Harris thing, and
Yep.
and again, Trump in Bucks County, which equals 37, and Ray Kroc did when he was 37, and yeah, I should have just stuck with my initial thought about this game, and they did pay tribute to Super Bowl 40 because that's the date of the game. 2-5, 5-2, Russell Wilson, Seahawks, Steelers over Seahawks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Najee Harris waltzes in for Steelers. It's just, again, it's all connected, you guys. It's all connected. I remember the days after 9/11. I was just so sick of all the 9/11 BS, and I wanted to turn on ESPN because I thought I wouldn't have to hear about 9/11 bullshit. But that's all they were talking about on there too. It's like, oh my God, just everywhere they got to make sure you're hearing about their bullshit. Everything's like one big subliminal mass mind control programming, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, go ahead. What else you got?
Yeah, I just think that right there it's like a big slap in the face. Harris waltzes, like they could have said anything there, but they chose that specifically, and we know why they chose that.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you mention Franco Harris. Did you mention about his jersey retirement 666 days ago from today?
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that, but I got sick.
Yeah. I think it was December 24th, 2022.
For people who forgot that, they were interviewing Franco Harris because they were going to retire his jersey for the Steelers-Raiders game because he had the immaculate reception back in the day against that, and then he just drops dead out of nowhere. He seemed perfectly fine on TV, in perfect health, and he's just dead.
Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up was the Van Jefferson touchdown, number 11 on the 11th day numerology.
And Pickens got his 11th too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Both of those guys look good for touchdowns.
So like I've been watching Van Jefferson because I go through all the players each week, and this guy he's been having like a good alignment. I think we're on week 7. He's had a good alignment a few times. I think 3 or 4 times, but they've all missed, and I guess they were just waiting for today.
Yeah. The Rodgers thing was a huge payout for plus 300, and man, he needed 20-some yards with 9 minutes to go in the game and didn't get a single other yard.
I mean, you know what they did there. You know, in the Patreon, we know who's watching the Patreon and who's listening. I'm pretty sure that if, no one knew about this, he would have had that 300 guaranteed.
Yeah. A lot of people had a great day, but I know a lot of people would have had a lot bigger days. Did that come in? And I was thinking it was with 9 minutes left. I was a little bit annoyed. So, but yeah, I mean, we did get a lot. We got the sacks. We got Brees Hall. We got Van Jefferson, like you said, it was a good payout. George Pickens was decent, but Van Jefferson was a good payout himself. So,
yeah. And then the last thing, the Steelers record 5-2, like president 52 to end the day. So
52 points, points. And again, that was the date of Super Bowl 40. It was February 5th. So 2-5-5-2. That was my first observation about the game in the live stream yesterday. I said, oh, Seahawks quarterback in the Steelers. This is Super Bowl 40 right here.
Right. And I mean, I don't know if anyone here is new or this is new to them, but this has been going on, like the last caller said, this has been going on before any of us ever existed. And you've been showing this for you're going on 12 years now, I think.
Well, we're still 12 will be in August. August will mark 12 years. So.
Yeah, and the Patreon the value of the Patreon cannot be explained because the amount that you charge versus the value and the work that you put in, it's not
people might think I'm capping when I say it, but I mean, if you want to go to a university right now, I mean, the cheapest tuition you're going to get for a quarter at this day and age is, I don't know, it's still going to be several $1,000s. I mean, like average state schools, you're paying at least $10,000 a year.
Oh yeah.
Again, there's a lot you can do if you get the right degree in terms of a career, but I swear to God, what you learn on this Patreon, it goes beyond sports. And not just my Patreon. I mean, even just the free information we put on this channel. You can do so much with this information. Like, I can't think of any single degree you can get that you can do like so much with. And the reason that is because the people that run this world, they're using this knowledge. It's the Kabbalah, you guys. The Kabbalah is real. Kabbalah is real. I'm not even getting into the whole Kabbalah. I'm just talking about the number component. But you can see how this is being used in everything from the markets to crypto to sports to the news to the rig selections. It empowers you to see a layer that's like unseeable unless you're aware of this. And again, I mean, it's not just about making money, but you can make money. I mean, Chris, this is what I like about the knowledge. And this is why I've always charged low amount. Chris is doing just fine in life, but Chris isn't like some big wealthy guy. I met him in Oklahoma City. And Chris, it was a lot for him to stay in a hotel. So he was sleeping out in his car. So I was letting Chris use my hotel room and shower, and I was getting him food from the cafeteria. So I know when Chris turns $15 into $2,500, that's good for Chris. And again, it's just there's been a lot of people in this community who've been able to improve their position in life through the knowledge. There's multiple people who were homeless who are no longer homeless, and there's multiple people in this community who no longer have a slave job. They don't have a daily job. They just do this now. They've gotten good at this, and this is how they make their living. And what's wrong with that? I got people there, oh, Zach's teaching you guys to do evil things, to gamble. It's like, according to what? Where's it evil to learn how to turn $5 into $500 off a rigged sports game? Where's that evil? And what's evil is if I was like getting people hooked on making $1,000 bets all the time and losing their money and losing their house. I would say that was evil, but that's not what I taught people to do. I taught people how to turn small bills into big bills and not chase your losses and be manageable and not waste your money on stupid stuff, and instead learn how to use it to multiply.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been here with you for maybe I think 2 or 3 years, and I don't think one time I've heard you say for anyone that they should bet more than $5 at max, and it's
Yeah, I've
usually
always
a
been the same
dollar.
way. I've always
Yeah,
been the same way.
yeah, and it's usually you're telling people to bet a dollar. So when people come back complaining, saying they lost X amount, I mean, you got to take some accountability. No one told you to put down that much money, you know?
Well, so, I mean, so that, again, that people will come across the work that are already gamblers, and that's what they do. And then when they take your information and they put out a big one, they want to blame you for it. And it's like, well, you should listen to what I'm saying here and learn how to do what I'm saying, so you can learn how to turn the 5 into 150 or whatever build. And again, the best ticket I've seen this year is $1 into 11. What was it, 86 or 11.89? Not
Yep.
bad, not
Yep.
bad. So.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say once again, thanks, Zach, for teaching this information. I've always been into, I guess you would call it conspiracy, but it's nothing but facts here, and that's how it's always been. So I appreciate you for that, Zach.
All right, man. Thanks for being a great contributor to the community. And again, in the post Kobe Bryant era, see, that's the thing you got here in the post Kobe Bryant era. I don't know what happened. There used to be a lot of great contributors to the community who have just vanished, and I don't even understand why. But there's also been, I think it's because a lot of the people who came in post Kobe era scared them all away. They just got sick of dealing with them. But you've been one of the best people to come in the post Kobe era, so I'm very grateful that you're here. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate those words, Zach. Take care.
All right. Yeah, you too. All right. I dropped the link if anybody else wants to join. And where's the troll who came on here as baseball expert and wanted to make fun of day one of the postseason? Because we've been like smoking the postseason almost every day since. And it wasn't even that bad day one. And again, just futures landing from spring training again. Both teams that I told everybody to put a future on at the start of the postseason if they hadn't done it yet. Dodgers and Yankees, both in the World Series. So where is that troll at? I'm sure he's watching right now too. He's trying to think of what he can say. It's like, well, shit, he only missed 2 games in the NFL. He was right about the Liberty. Maybe I should just shut up today. And if that is your line of thinking, you're actually being smart today. Good for you. Good for you. All right. If you guys got here late, if we don't have anybody else that wants to jump on, I'll drop the link one more time if anybody else wants to hop on. If not, again, feel free to rewind. Quick recap. Game goes to overtime 60-60 on Kamala's birthday. Again, I'd have to go back and watch my own Patreons over the season, but I know I kept documenting things with the Liberty. And I kept telling my community, this Liberty team is standing out. The things they're doing with this Liberty team is really standing out. Look at what they synced up the Liberty with today. And yeah, just for it to end on Kamala's birthday, it's laughable. It's comical. Before this game started, I put out another update. I put out notes this morning favoring the Dodgers, and then I put out an update like, yeah, this is definitely the Dodgers game, and really emphasized the 105 thing and why today in tribute to Jackie. Again, Jackie died in 1972. Today leaves 72 days left in the year. Dodgers equals 72. Jackie'd be 105 years old. Dodgers win their 105th game of the season to advance to the World Series that starts one day after the death anniversary of Jackie Robinson, and they win it 10-5. And if you're not on my Gematria Effect Sports channel, watch how the score became 10-5, because I started doing my gloat video before it was even 10-5. And I said, I'm going to die if the Mets end up scoring one more run this inning and it becomes 10-5. And then once they did, I said, they won't score anymore. I said, just look at how the run got scored. It was so gimmicky. I mean, it's pathetic, man. And again, here's what I know. A lot of people are not athletes. Did we freeze? Shit, we did freeze, but I'm unfrozen now. I don't know how long we were frozen for. Again, if more people were athletes, well, you know what? There are even athletes that somehow don't see through rig sports. And I think in that case, if more people were more athletic and more intelligent, everyone would see through rig sports. So I know that's a fact. If you're an athlete and you cannot see through rigged sports, there's a deficit up here. I'm sorry. If you know how to play these sports games, pro sports are just laughable. The coaching decisions, the officiating, the things the players do. I mean, Rizzo's a gold glover. Did you see what he did in some of these Yankees games? He couldn't handle that ground ball at first. I know it was hit sharply, but baseball fields are so well groomed. You don't really get crazy hops. Sometimes there's spin on the ball. I mean, it was a routine out. Game should have been over. Then he got that little toss to make the out, like in the next game, and dropped it. I mean, the announcers tried to explain how he didn't catch the ball because it was tossed to him too close. I mean, no, I'm sorry. I can't stand watching pro sports. There's no way these guys should ever get paid money like that if they can't make these plays. Like, I never made an error like that when I was 12 years old. All right, let's go out to Clint Burton. Then we got GAD. What's up, Clint Burton?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
I just wanted to come over here and I'll be watching. I started watching like sports and TV again, but it's this show on Netflix called Starting Five, and in episode 6, it was they was talking about how the Kings, they played the Warriors sometime in the playoffs. But they was like, yeah, it's exactly what the script writers wanted, the Kings and the Warriors. I'm like,
2 years
damn.
ago. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. They said that in the show though, like that's exactly what the script writers wanted, Kings and Warriors. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then right
after that Kings Warriors series, the Warriors beat the Kings, and then they went on to play LeBron, and then they had the big ritual on King Charles' coronation on May 6th. Yeah, I was down in California around that time, educated about how rigged all that stuff was. Yeah.
Word up. And then right after that, they was showing like LeBron said he can't go out in public and stuff like that and do stuff like a regular person because everybody gonna want to be up on him. But then it was a scene where he was walking in the street and listening to music on his phone, and he had on his jacket, but it said 356. But you know, I know how you said 3. If you write out 3, it equal 56. But instead of like 365, it had 356. I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Just like, you know, play on the numbers.
Indeed.
But and then I don't know if you ever got to it, but the show Raising Kanan by 50 Cent on Stars. In that show, it was they was talking like through numbers, basically. Like they were selling drugs, but they were saying like it's a ancient language and stuff like that. But yeah, I was just coming on here to just relate that message. Like, yeah, they be putting this shit in there. I used to play basketball, but once I found out, like, I came across your work when Kobe had died, and once I found out like it was scripted and stuff like that, and I actually started paying it. Like you just said, if you used to hoop or used to play sports and shit like that, and you can't see how this is scripted, or you can't see how like they not playing for real, they acting and shit like that, yeah, something wrong with you for real. Because I was looking at it in the show like, bro, come on now, bro, like play defense or some shit. But I'm like, man, this shit, it ain't.
Question for you about what you just said about 50 Cent. So he has a show called Raising Cain. That's different than his show Power?
It's like a spin-off. So it's like Kane was a person in the original show, and then they show like his childhood, how he grew up, and his uncle and his mom and his mamas and stuff like that. They were showing like his background, 50 Cent and him in the show.
Okay, because I remember when the rapper Pop Smoke died on the 50th day of the year, we were showing how it had something to do with 50 Cent, and the next thing you knew, 50 Cent was producing his posthumous album. But then I remember somebody told me that there was like an episode of Power that came out right after that, and I think 50 Cent kills his son in the episode.
Oh yeah, 50 Cent. Yep, he killed his son in the original like Power season, because it's like three different ones. It's the Power, it's Raising Kanan, and then it's the one now with Ghost Son, a dude that was in the thing.
Okay,
So, yeah.
and I think Pop Smoke's actual surname was Jackson, just like 50 Cent's Curtis Jackson.
Yep.
So it makes me wonder if that's actually his son.
Yeah, could have been. You never know. The son that he always wanted, unlike the son that he be posted on social media that's a dickhead.
Yeah, it's crazy the way the world of celebrity is and the things they do to these people to be on the world stage. I mean, You want to be high up on the world stage like a 50 Cent, and you see 50 Cent, someone climbing in the world stage, movies, just everything.
Definitely. And then the
What?
Anthony Edwards, I feel like that's really Michael Jordan's son.
No
I don't
doubt
know.
about it, man. And Jimmy Butler. No
Yeah,
doubt about it.
yeah. That's crazy. But the way they talk about Anthony Edwards, you know he the next up. So I'm definitely gonna be I'm only 24. I turn 25 next month. So I'm definitely gonna be following it like throughout his career just to see how all the rituals and shit line up. Like because he
He's
gives
gonna
you
have a
that
lot
type.
bigger focus this year because they got Towns out of there, so it's going to be more of the Anthony Edwards show. And notice Towns went from Minnesota to New York right before the WNBA Finals is set. Minnesota, New York.
But I'm about to get back to work, man. I just wanted to call in and add my little piece.
All right, enjoy being young.
Yep.
Good night.
You too.
All right, take care. Those are the days. Oh man, I wish I could go back to my mid-20s. Man, what's up, GAD?
Hey, how you doing, Zach?
The voice. What's up, man?
Yeah, man. I just wanted to come on and say, watching the games the last couple of days, particularly the baseball game and of course the NFL, man. I always, now, over the years, now looking at a lot of these numbers, you could just clearly see, like, whenever they stop to show, like show the graphic of the rushing yards or whatever. It just be so funny. You always see the 223 number all the fucking time, or 144, and it's like this shit's getting goofy now. And and I'm starting to see more and more how they always talk about they couldn't have scripted it any better. They keep saying this shit even more so now than I've ever seen them ever say it in previous times, man. But with that being said, watch, especially, I mean, the Yankees game. Goddamn, that shit was so fucking pathetic. But I cashed in though off of this game with the Steelers. That was the last part of the parlay that I had, and won a substantial amount. And part of it was your work on Patreon. That I subscribe to. Just
I was going to say,
take
anybody who watched my stream yesterday on Steelers went with the Steelers, but then I got the league-wide record, made it look like the Jets had a shot tonight, and I wish I hadn't even looked at the league-wide record. So anyway, well done.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. So so I just wanted to say that. But yeah, man, it's getting really fake out here, and it's to me watching it from a different perspective. I can see why there's certain aesthetically pleasing plays happen. Cool, I get that, but this shit is just all rigged. No different than how this fucking election is going to be rigged. It's just there's nothing in this world that's fucking real, man. When you start to think about it, and like you said before, anybody that has played professional sports or done sports, like I've done sports, particularly as a fighter. You can tell when shit is not real, man, when people are not sitting up here doing what they're supposed to do. Like you don't get paid millions of fucking dollars as they allegedly do, right? And drop fucking passes when you're wide the fuck open. Like that's like stupid, man. Or not being able to feel the play.
These grip gloves too, man. It's just like, oh my God. Like, in what world can't you catch it with those gloves?
Right. Yeah, they were fucking playing with fucking bare hands and shit, catching bare hand and fucking negative 13 degrees weather, and you got all the fucking material nowadays to catch, and you still can't catch. It's like, I don't know, it just be some silly shit you be seeing. It's like, and watching the game today, I saw one play where Aaron Rodgers easily could have made a pass, but it's like, how the fuck do you overthrow him? Overthrow your receivers like that?
Did you? You saying that just reminds me. Do you remember? Did you watch the Washington-Michigan championship?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, I watched that shit.
I mean,
I was watching it in the bar.
Just lights out all year, and now in the championship game, he just missing all his receivers, just throwing it way over their head. Brock Purdy today in the Chiefs game was just doing his best, throw away the game script. All of these college and pro, it's all so corrupted. Money controls it all. And again, it's just like people will say like, oh, he must have got nerves. Man, if you're a top athlete, you live for the pressure situation for the biggest game. I mean, the Washington quarterback, it's just like it's Deshaun Watson too. Deshaun Watson is such a good quarterback, and now he just has to play like he's just a total bum after going through the he supposedly raped 50 women story. It's just all this stuff is such trash, and it's just it makes me sick. And then you got to turn on Uncle Tom in the morning on ESPN. What's his name? Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh my
Stephen
God!
A.
It's just
Stephen A. Coon. I mean, I don't like. I really don't like him. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, he knows I mean, he's so disrespectful. I mean, and mind you would think someone who'd never played would keep his fucking, you know, be like you want to be analysis and whatnot, cool. But you would think an idiot like that don't know shit about sports like that would sit there and at least be respectful to the pro athletes. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you got, but people like motherfuckers like that. People like, you know, these idiots and they be reading off a script. They be trying to come up with fucking material, but you know,
him and Trump and so many of these people are like a reflection of what society is now. I mean, like, look at this is Fox News's headline about what Trump did today. Where's it at? Hold on. Former president works deep fryer to troll VP Harris. It's like, this is the nation we live in, where it's a troll contest now to be president.
Yeah, it's a joke. And my thing is too, right? Even with the Trump thing, because I look at it. Look, at the end of the day, man, the dude's a fucking Zionist. He's a, you know, of course, like we all know, the man, you know, was Jesuit educated, okay, and the man's an entertainer. And Kamala Harris, another actor. None of these people have anything like this. These are two of the worst candidates that we've ever had. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so funny how deeply rooted people are in investing in their time with these people, like investing so much energy thinking that, oh, Trump is going to save America. Trump is going to do this, or fucking, what's the name? Kamala Harris is going to do that. When you start listening to their conversations, like they're literally telling you what they have planned down the line. It may not come this year, next year, but it's going to come very soon. And they let it slip out on purpose because they know people are fucking stupid.
Indeed. It's frustrating.
But yeah, I ain't gonna take up any more of your time. I just want to say thank you, man. You know, for the picks on the Patreon. You know, I know you do a lot of due diligent work. I did, you know, add some of my own picks as far as when it came to the fight game. So I figured there was going to be some upsets this past week. So I just added all that and added the I just needed that Jets pick to go through straight up, and it did perfectly. So appreciate it.
Oh, you had the Steelers. You were on the Steelers.
Oh yeah, I picked them straight up.
Super Bowl 40 tribute. See, it was definitely standing out to you, that Super Bowl 40 salute, being a Seattle guy. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and just the fact that they're putting, like, and mind you, like, just even thinking about the whole situation with Russell Wilson, it wasn't like the other guy was doing that bad. You know, if we want to, you know, look at it from a surface level, the fact that they just yanked him out and put Russell Wilson, it just seemed like, man, nah, this is gonna be his homecoming, man. They're gonna get rapid, and the way and mind you, when he came out the tunnel, why the fuck are they just? He's coming out the tunnel last, like he's a backup quarterback now. Like the fuck, out of here, man. This shit is goofy as hell nowadays.
It is.
But yeah, man, I ain't gonna take up any more of your time. I appreciate it, man. Keep doing the work, man.
All right, good to hear your voice. Congrats on the win. You have a good night.
Thank you.
All right, take care, man. All right. One last time, congrats to the winners. Chris turning $15 into $2,500 on some futures. Well done, Chris. Well done. King Richard TV. Today is 158 days after McDonald's opened as well. Here, for those who don't understand this comment right here, let me take you back. King Richard's very good with the knowledge. We're going to go to Morgan Spurlock's death here, the guy who did the Super Size Me documentary, and just show you how dirty it was what they did to Morgan Spurlock. And it's funny, we were saying the day he died, May 23rd, had something to do with Trump, who's Mr. McDonald's. He died on 5/23. Donald Trump's 5/23 in satanic gematria. 523 is the 99th prime number. Remember, Aaron Donald's birthday is May 23rd. The guy who wore 99 for the Rams, his name Aaron Donald equals 99. Remember, he faced the Patriots in the 99th NFL season in the Super Bowl. New England equals 99. They came into that season, the Patriots did, with 523 wins. Anyway, Morgan Spurlock, the guy who made the movie Going After McDonald's, he died on the 195th day of the Superior General's age. Morgan Spurlock, 195, like Raymond Albert Kroc, who is Mr. McDonald's. Again, Ray Kroc died when Trump was 37. Now Trump goes from McDonald's to the Steelers game, and they win with 37 points, and he was in Bucks County, which equals 37, like Harris, who he was trolling. But I'm bringing up the 158 thing. When Morgan Spurlock died, he died 158 days from the Pope's birthday. And look, hamburgers equals 158, like Burger King, like McDonald's, like Freemasonry. And again, if you go get your food handler's permit, they changed it. It didn't used to be this way. But the old answer on the food handler's permit was you had to cook a hamburger to 160 degrees. If you go get your food handler's permit right now, the correct answer on the test is 158 degrees. And just think about that too. That even shows you like how so many things in our life are a number ritual. It's like the number that we learn that's supposedly the truth of this. It's actually just a ritual. Before, you had to cook the hamburger to 160 degrees, but in recent years, they've changed it to 158. And of course, the majority of the burgers that are made in this country are made by McDonald's or even a Burger King, which is a lot smaller than McDonald's. And have you ever noticed how B plus K is 13, just like M's the 13th letter, like in the land of 13 stripes? Again, 5/23 is the 99th prime. Trump's back in Pittsburgh at the game 99 days after the Butler shooting. Butler's just outside of Pittsburgh. Sunday Night Football 99. We said Will McDonald would get the sack tonight, number 99. He sure did. Both 99s got sacks tonight on Sunday Night Football. But yeah, this is why King Richard is pointing out that today's 158 days after the anniversary of McDonald's opening. Unbelievable. Well done, King Richard. Mike Rawson, very welcome. Open up with another nice payday. See, there's so many guys who've said things like that over there. I never even watched the game and I'm making money. Because you don't have to watch the game. You just got to learn how they're rigged by the numbers. That's all you got to do. See, Open Up's a good listener, and that's why Open Up's been winning. And again, I don't want to make somebody feel bad out there, but see, there's somebody I like this person because they've supported my Patreon since it started, but there's somebody who has not won money. They've lost money in the time they've been following me and been a supporter of my Patreon since it launched in 2018. They've been here since the beginning, and he doesn't have a net profit, which is very rare for anybody who's been around. He's one of the only people who has not made money who's been around all this time. And you guys might know who I'm talking about. I'm not even going to call him out. But the thing is, he's always calling in and arguing with me. And he's never riding on the winning patterns. And he was 1,000,000% sure it was going to be the Mets and not the Dodgers. And I kept reminding him, I kept saying, hey, you should know every year it's the same World Series numbers. It's either 147 and 57, and we pointed it out. I mean, we had the Dodgers in spring training. We said, at the start of the postseason, the Dodgers and Yankees both have the 147 World Series, 147. And again, it's just like, I don't know. It's like I encourage everyone to use their own mind, but sometimes it's like, okay, I don't know how you can be here all these years and you're always going against the grain in the consistent patterns. It's like it'll be the Super Bowl and 41's there, the Super Bowl number, and he'll be like, oh, I'm finding all these things for the other team. And I'm like, oh, so what? You want to go against the 41? And then he does. He goes against it. And it's just like, what are you doing? Are you like trying to lose money every time? What's the point? I mean, it's not like I want him to go away. I like that he supports the work. I want to see him win, but it's like he knows everything and then he just goes against the things that win every year. It's like, what are you doing? So Yeah, because it really it's the same shit every year. It's the same numbers come up in the championships every year. If you missed the last video, I talked about what they did with the Chiefs and Niners today, and the video before this, the live stream before this. Not the video, but the live stream from earlier today. The one with the football all over the thumbnail. Make sure you revisit that one. All right. And this thing about Daddy Yankee born in 1977, that is very interesting. I'm going to look more into that one. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. And I don't blame you for not gambling. I don't blame you for not gambling at all. It's probably a wiser move at the end of the day. But again, you ever want to learn how to have a little fun? Again, stretch the dollar into the $100 bill. It is fun to do. So, all right. Open Up came with another one. He said, third Kobe statue is still yet to be revealed. It will give us more information for the Super Bowl. Yeah. Remember, they put up the first Kobe statue 3 days before the Super Bowl, where Mahomes won his third Super Bowl, and they put it up on the anniversary of Derek Thomas's death, who wore number 58. And Kobe's been connected to Mahomes since he died, because Mahomes won the Super Bowl the Sunday after Kobe died. And then when Mahomes won his second Super Bowl in 57, remember Len Dawson, the Chiefs great, died on Kobe Bryant Day, 172 days before the Super Bowl, when Kansas City Chiefs is 172. Kobe from Philly that year, the Super Bowl was Chiefs over Philly, and that was the easiest one ever for the Chiefs, because State Farm equals 103. It was the 103rd season, the Super Bowl in State Farm Arena. Eagles play at Lincoln Financial Field. It was the first Super Bowl on Lincoln's birthday, and he's who freed the slaves, and it was the first Super Bowl between two black quarterbacks. What's up, Bar?
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah, Steelers, man, is a lock. That's all I got to say. He called the 99 McDonald and Ogunjobi sack. That's all I got to say, man. Skadoosh.
Hey, I'm happy the Steelers won, especially for you. So congrats to you, 510.
Yeah, there. All right, Zach.
All right, have a good night. All right. Yeah, let's leave it there. Again, congrats to the winners. Hope you had a great day. And baseball futures, man, we keep doing it. We're going to do it again next year. We got to start thinking about next year already. 121st World Series. Revelation 121. First thought, but could be something else. We'll see. We will see. All right, guys. I was just checking the chat real quick. Yeah, Big Al enjoys turning the small bill into the big bill. He's done it a lot of times too. All right, shout out to Big Al again. That's a nice thing too. There's been certain guys, because they've been rewarded by the knowledge. They've put some of the money back into the community. They come out and traveled and pounded payment with us. Big Al should go down in history as one of the people who stood out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on March 13, 2020, and all through that weekend, raising awareness about what was going to come with the scandemic. Because again, our community, we had the whole thing mapped out before it even happened. And again, that's why it's a damn shame that we haven't gotten a lot more attention from the eyes of the world, because the thing about this information is it helps out everyone who finds it. So anyhow, we'll leave it there for now. Have a good night. And until next time, True Seeker.